I'm just doing knowledge work all the time. Like even to relax, I'm doing knowledge work. I'm finding recipes on the internet. I'm organizing them in my Notion. I'm always doing knowledge work, even in my dreams. If you wear anything other than natural fibers, I realized that your dryer lint is microplastics. I made a video a long time ago about the equinox, and it's the first video I ever uploaded. You can go watch it. The equinox already happened, so you can't perform the experiment, but you could wait until spring. But you could watch it and then schedule your experiment for the spring equinox, which is March 20th, 2025. Partially I mention this because I talk about it being your device entering dark mode in the video, and we're increasingly having devices naturally go from light mode to dark mode. It's almost as if we don't want this technology. We want to go back to the old ways of things changing seasonally and day to night. There was an article in, I think it was either the Wall Street Journal or the Financial Times a couple weeks ago, about how the more affluent people are, the more dumb tech they're using, like even fax machines. So correlate this back to a couple months ago, it came up in the news several times. They're like, oh no, people who are less financially solvent aren't going to be able to afford the internet. And I keep saying that, don't worry, everyone will be able to access the internet at all times. In fact, it will be a mark of affluence to not have to access the internet all the time, which, to be clear, is not a jab at the affluent. It is a jab at the way it's being talked about in the media to Jedi mind trick you into wanting internet. Amazon has joined the Motion Picture Association. So that's Amazon, Paramount Pictures, Sony Pictures, Universal Studios, Walt Disney Studios, Warner Brothers, Discovery, and Netflix. They're a very powerful lobbying group. And Amazon bought MGM in 2022. So the Motion Picture Association does policymaking and protection efforts in regards to its creative. So this shines an interesting light, an interesting eclipse light, where you can see all the carpet stains, or I don't know what because this isn't necessarily bad or nefarious, it's just, it is what it is. When Amazon started entering into streaming video and cinema, very strategic. So a headline I read this week on financialtimes.com was, Global Police Dismantle Encrypted Messaging App Used by Criminals. Again, that was the Financial Times headline for this story, and you can read about it, whatever. But in the same style, I'm going to tell you about how one government exploded messaging devices used by criminals. See what I did there? I'm not going to talk any more about exploding pages because I don't want to scare you. But a significant plot point must have occurred sometime between late July of this year and late August of this year, because Mars was applying to Jupiter in Gemini. So there's a company, a while ago, I forget what update, you're gonna have to go back and watch all of them, oh no, to find it, where I talked about quantum dot TVs and how quantum dots are entering the media in this way because they're entering lots of places and they're very important and they need to enter your consciousness as a good thing. And this bolsters that. This article in the news this week bolsters that conjecture of mine, which is not just mine. So my takeaway from this article is quantum dots. Quantum dots are in your consciousness. Quantum dots good. No quantum dots bad. Look up the report from Rice University called Quantum Dot Tattoos Hold Vaccination Record. This was a proposal from winter of 2019 to hold the vaccination records of children in quantum dot tattoos in children. So now that you've been thoroughly conditioned against such overt tracking, in biological tracking inside your human body, now stuff like quantum dots will just go into your supplements for wellness. So now the whole wellness space is corrupted. And that's every time the moon goes through Taurus, where the moon exalts, it is now squaring Pluto in Aquarius. And that's one big signature of this, is like our maximum health being interfered with by corruption regarding technology, tracking of the masses. If you think that sounds crazy, watch my managed wellness video first. It's a few uploads back. What happened? It's showing you all my things now. Look up the video, Graphene, Quantum Dots, and Cannabis by Nixine Publishing. And think about my managed wellness video, and think about your supplements, and think about your organic produce. Mercury in Virgo takes care of its children. Hermes, Lord of Swiftness, has granted mail carriers the comfort of air conditioning, the protection of airbags, and 360-degree vision. This upgrade is long awaited. And I guess they look weird, but mail carriers are pretty happy about it because of the improved safety, improved comfort, improved utility. They were built by Oshkosh Defense, and most of them will be electric, thanks to a government deal that helped fund charging stations. This is part of a broader effort to curb carbon emissions by 2030 by 40%. Salesforce's new AI strategy acknowledges that AI will take jobs. Salesforce is changing how it uses AI in its products. Their main product is a CRM system, so customer relationship management, as if you don't know. So Salesforce helps companies track customer information, sales, and interactions, sales, marketing, customer service, and data analysis. So it's a company that helps businesses better connect with customers to grow their sales. This is starting to sound like an ad for Salesforce, but it isn't. Wow, to be sponsored by Salesforce, that would be amazing. And they're changing their charging structure. So first they're offering computer programs that can do jobs on their own. It will take jobs away from companies that use Salesforce. So like setting up meetings, customer service, Salesforce is going to do that automatically using AI. And instead of charging monthly per seat, which a lot of SaaS does, they'll charge $2 each time the AI helper does a task. So this is setting up Salesforce to still make money, even if their technology helps jobs be eliminated. Very clever. IBM is quietly getting rid of many jobs and trying to keep it quiet. Apparently, when I try to hide, I get more attention. IBM is reportedly carrying out a significant round of layoffs and trying to keep it quiet. And it's particularly located in IBM Cloud. I almost said IBM Clown. And managers participating in the layoffs are apparently signing NDAs to keep it quiet, but again, when I try to hide, I get more attention. IBM has referred to this in the past as a, quote, workforce rebalancing that would affect a small percentage of their global workforce. The cuts mainly target senior level programmers, sales and support staff, with many affected employees in the 50 to 55 age range, and with 20 to 24 years of seniority, so people who have been at the company for a really long time. Some jobs are reportedly being moved to India. And the article also mentions something that I didn't mention a few weeks ago because I'm just so bored of tech layoffs, but there were a slew of tech layoff stories this week. So the article also mentions Cisco going through with its layoffs that it announced recently. And remember, there are a lot of tech layoffs this past winter. Mercury retrograding back in Capricorn, going through, looking at the balance sheet and being ruthless and cold about cutting costs this past winter. Publicly posted software development roles are down almost 30% since February of 2020. Tech companies have offloaded 137,000 jobs. It seems like a small number, actually, since January, as reported by layoffs.fyi. I don't really know where to go with this, but I'm starting to look at the South Node in Libra and all these tech layoffs together. And the scales are a tool of commerce and calculation. That's all I got. The alternative headline I saw, this is from the Washington Post. The other headline, when I accessed this on a different device, was internet data centers are fueling drive to old power source, coal. Northern Virginia has more of these centers than anywhere in the world. And this article frames them as they're crucial for our online lives, which we could look at that. We could take a look at that. And they use massive amounts of energy and water. And that's what this article is about, causing environmental concerns. So again, I think the power grid is going to be a source of, or like a big focal point soon, especially next year. So looking at like general retail consumer efforts to save energy, or like encouragement to save energy, we can go back to this article. Like, do we really want this? Apparently companies are trying to find ways to make the data centers environmentally friendly, like using renewable energy and finding good sources for the heat that they produce. This is also, since I was served two different headlines, this is also, sometimes they just A/B test headlines a lot. Like they'll just split it down the middle and see which headline does better, and then that'll be the one that stays. But I think with the algorithm, we could see a world where everybody is served maybe the same articles but with different headlines. Just as on social media, sometimes people are served a different bunch of comments than others on the same post. In completely unrelated news, not that one, this one, Google is backing the launch of FireSat, a satellite constellation aimed at detecting and tracking wildfires globally. The satellites will use infrared sensors and Google's AI, that's not terrifying at all, to provide real-time updates on wildfires. I know I'm being really cynical, but this is so easy. Images will be refreshed every 20 minutes, and Google has invested $13 million in this. initiative. Larry Ellison, the co-founder of Oracle, has declared the company's commitment to advancing AI-driven mass surveillance, claiming that it will help ensure that both police and citizens behave under constant watch. Last week I remarked that all the big AI companies' logos look like the panopticon. Ellison views Oracle's technology as the backbone for real-time monitoring, emphasizing that police body cameras will always be on, I think even in the bathroom, if I'm not mistaken. And this is according to his vision of a world of enhanced accountability, but it's like the transparency thing with blockchain, where it's like the transparency is for everyone, but still, if you have a lot of power and resources, you aren't subject to that. Ellison sees vast opportunities for AI from policing to agriculture. Watch my managed wellness video, while promoting Oracle as the go-to provider of this type of infrastructure. Thought Police, OpenAI threatens to ban users who probe its Strawberry AI models. This is very Garden of Eden core. If we want to know, we shall be cast out. Also consider the deeper spiritual implications of these figures who have wanted to know, figured it out, and now will cast out anyone else who wants to know. But there's also like a purity and perhaps a freedom in ignorance, or what even is ignorance. If you're not trying to figure out how the AI works, where is your attention directed? Is it directed perhaps to the radiant health of your human body and those under your care, or perhaps to the nurturing of your close relationships? Snapchat is going to use your face by default in their ads, and you can opt out of this by saying like, don't use my selfie in ads or something. It's in this article how to do it. You can disable the quote see my selfie in ads feature, which is enabled by default. The Federal Trade Commission has released a report showing that big social media and other like video streaming companies collect more personal information than users could even imagine, and it's including from children and teenagers. The report says that companies often keep this data and also share it widely, and they make money using this data for targeted advertising. The Federal Trade Commission suggests limiting data collection and sharing, improving privacy controls, and protecting minors online, obviously. And the Federal Trade Commission wants Congress to pass new laws to address these issues. And the way I see this report is, and this graphic is from the report, it's all an advertisement for blockchain digital IDs, which are verifiably private, but which you'll be compelled to have things collect your data in order to use services, and then you'll be compelled to share that data if you're financially disadvantaged somehow, or if you need someone's approval for anything. The international dialogues on AI safety happened in Venice, Italy, which sounds like some kind of a blockbuster movie. So AI experts gathered and issued warnings about AI, calling for urgent global oversight. What does that mean? That means a global consortium or something, and not against it. They proposed creating AI safety authorities to monitor and regulate AI systems, focusing on potential dangers like self-replication or deception. Anyway, they emphasized a need to have a coordinated international consortium of some sort to address AI's potential threats. Financial market data is becoming all tokenized. Like that's what crypto is. It's tokenizing financial data, except in the metaverse, every interaction is a transaction. And the metaverse is social media. And tokenization is what's used to train LLMs. Anyway, MasterCard is buying Recorded Future, which is a company that helps businesses and governments detect cyber threats. The purchase price is $2.65 billion. It will reportedly help MasterCard improve its ability to protect against cybercrime this week, as stories from Visa and Walmart saying they're going to do a thing that makes it so you don't have to pay for a card, you can pay directly with your bank account, which in my opinion is a predecessor for using cryptocurrency for everything. Digital monies, community currencies, if you will. Recorded Future uses artificial intelligence to analyze data and spot potential security risks. And the deal is expected to be completed in early 2025, and it's pending regulatory approval. And speaking of blockchain, this is from a while ago. You can see it, September 12th. I put it in my news thing and then I forgot to talk about it. Adam Newman, he's the founder of WeWork. There's a documentary on Hulu about him starring Anne Hathaway, and it frames him as like, oh, this was a failure, but this is a symbol of everything else going on around like IRL social networks, how the metaverse is social media and the physical world is becoming the metaverse. in all of this. Cryptocurrency and blockchain are really important, especially to track people and keep people under control, but also to train large language models. So Adam Neumann is refunding investors, people who invested in his climate tech startup, Flow Carbon, after it failed to deliver on its promise to create blockchain-based carbon credits. I think this is going to be a thing, though, so it's weird. Like, he's become a figure who symbolically fails in order to direct your attention away from the fact that these very technologies and systems are being built and they are going to succeed at some point, and then the whole world as we know it is going to fail and be very different. So maybe all this technology will go away. But like, the way I see it right now, it's way too early for it to actually be failing. I think it's going to like be demonstrated to fail while it's actually succeeding, unbeknownst to you. Anyway, he raised millions for his Goddess Nature token, which is meant to represent carbon credits. Investors were being asked to sign confidentiality agreements in exchange for their refunds. This it might look like nonsense to you, but in my opinion, it's very important. IBM has acquired a startup that helps companies optimize and reduce costs related to their Kubernetes cloud infrastructure. So Kubernetes is a thing that it comes from the Greek word helm, and it also, the word cybernetics is derived from it. And the work of Stafford Beer, the father of cybernetics, is connected to Kubernetes, which is it's a programming framework that's very important for running the world, or making sure that you're like controlling lots of different things to make sure that your objective is reached, which also is amazing. And IBM has had previous acquisitions in the financial operations space as a strategy to enhance its IT and cloud management services. KubeCost is known for its widely adopted cost monitoring solution and its open source project, OpenCost. And this will be integrated into IBM's FinOps suite to provide more comprehensive cost management solutions. Sleep apnea detection is coming to Apple Watch. Apple has released many health features and just like biology monitoring sensor features for the watch and for the AirPods aimed at improving sleep and hearing. So the watch can notify users of the potential for sleep apnea to make health monitoring more accessible. Watch my managed wellness video if you haven't. I talked about this a while ago. This came up like in the winter. I'll try to link the episode below where I talk about it. NASA's working to create a time standard for the moon, still called Coordinated Lunar Time, LTC, because NASA wants to establish a lasting presence on the moon through the Artemis program, which in my opinion is to direct your attention away from other things. Anyway, this lunar time will be based on atomic clocks, since time behaves differently in space due to factors like relativity. Standardizing time on the moon. This is NASA's effort to enhance safety and coordination, paving the way for the exploration of Mars. We're in between eclipses. Here's a book I really love for times like this. It's really short. It's like big type and it's 118 pages. Eclipse Fair. This week Mercury is checking in with all the fairy people and the Lord of the Underworld, basically finalizing takeaways after Mercury retrograde through Leo and Virgo, and taking into account more broad and esoteric implications of everything that just happened over the past summer. And Mercury is conducting these contacts with the outer planets before shifting into Libra this week, where Mercury will report back to the king by making the exterior conjunction with the sun on Monday. So basically this week too. I'll talk about it next week, but it happens on this coming Monday, not right now, even though it's the fallen sun. So this king's palace is we're moving, everything's boxed up. Or we have to box up everything and move it for some reason due to renovations. This is a subtle palace anyway. Leadership is tenuous. What does that even mean? Monday is maybe a little bit of a rough start with the moon in Gemini squaring Saturn in Pisces. But you might have felt that Sunday night. A lot of the day feels triumphant, if a bit scattered, with the moon applying to Jupiter in Gemini for squaring Mercury in Virgo. Excitement about information or what you thought you believed comes under sober scrutiny. Maybe. And that's good because the moon also applies to a square with Neptune in Pisces. So the quality by the end of Monday or Tuesday morning could be everything I know is wrong. And this will be amplified due to Mercury's oncoming opposition with Neptune in Pisces, which applies to today, Monday, even though it happens technically, I think, on Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. There's a knowing things that you don't know why you know these things. So you might write them off when they're actually legitimate, or you might hold things to be true that you didn't actually do your due diligence to calculate correctly. It could be either. So like knowing things without empirical findings to back it up, and you might write off those knowings as not viable even though they are, or it might not be viable information but you do take it as face value. I don't know which one. I hope you've been cultivating your intuition. The nature of squares present a tension or a conflict. Squares and oppositions. So it's the moon squaring Neptune. Mercury is about to oppose Neptune, and the conflict could be internal with like Neptune and Pisces. So it's maybe not that extreme in reality, but you could feel that way, and you could make like the tension is maybe not that extreme, but I guess like the nature of an opposition is extreme. It's like high contrast. So you could feel that way, and you could make decisions as if your internal tension were extremely important and must be acted upon because we're in between eclipses. So if you take like big actions or like really go out on a limb on some like intuition hit, you might want to take some time, like quiet time to scrutinize that. Or I don't know, maybe the quiet time you take to scrutinize it is like second guessing yourself. I'm not sure. Monday's very confusing. So is Tuesday. But Monday gradually builds in excitement and electricity. If you're looking for Monday, I've been talking about it for a while, so you should rewind or you should like go back because I just hit the Monday button. Anyway, Monday gradually builds in excitement with Mercury applying to Uranus on Tuesday. Early Tuesday could be rather exciting. Exalted Mercury trines Uranus. This could result in some type of breakthrough. Maybe it happened Monday. There could be a devil-may-care attitude around knowledge work or financial matters or commerce on Tuesday, and it might be likely, maybe more likely than not, to end up being constructive, because since the moon is extreme waning, we're in between eclipses. Allow yourself to have a breakthrough. Maybe don't act on it yet. Since Mercury exalts in Virgo, this is a gentle zap to let you know about something. Maybe it's not time to do that thing yet, but now you know. So the attitude to have here is like prepare for detachment, whatever this information is, or whatever like the epiphany you have is. And also this applies to like whatever place in your chart Mercury rules. So something about that subject matter has like some surprising information. But let this inform your sense of calculation in a way that helps you deal with the fact that the only thing you can count on is change, especially right now, like until early October. I mean, always, but we're in between eclipses, which is a time of change. And any changes you make during this time will have much broader implications than you could possibly imagine. And that's not necessarily good. Eclipses are chaotic. They're riding a dragon. So if you want the type of change of like, now you have a pet dragon, it could eat you. And the overall positivity around today is bolstered by an immediate trine with Venus by the moon. So take advantage of whatever that is early in the day on Tuesday, and understand that the energy of the moment is dying down quickly. It's like going into a black hole, the energy available for use. So also if you're tired, you want to sleep a lot, that's a good thing to do in between eclipses. If you're tired, if you're really low energy, that's okay. That is the quality of this time. You maybe don't want to overexert yourself. The moon immediately enters its fourth quarter on Tuesday after all these other aspects. So we're in between eclipses. We're heading towards a solar eclipse in Libra. So it's like a maximally waning moon, waning into a black hole. The energy of subtraction is strong. The situation is already changing. So lay out your workout clothes neatly on Tuesday and queue up whatever workout you're going to do Wednesday morning, first thing, so you can just roll out of bed and start moving. Anyway, the day's excitement could morph on Tuesday into a feeling of more confusion. As the second half of Tuesday, most of it is concerned with exalted Mercury's opposition with Neptune and Pisces. These are such extreme opposites. Opposition is always opposites, but this is Mercury rules Virgo. Neptune leans into the Pisces energy very much. So these are extreme opposites. Little precision and big nebulousness. This could combine well with imagination. There's a technique of writing I enjoy called pantsing, which I didn't name it, and it has to do with like writing by the seat of your pants. And it's you just write fiction depending on whatever is coming out of you. There's no planning, you just write fiction. Some of my in-between eclipses pantsing fiction whilst in a Mercury-ruled year have been really interesting and weird and like a little disturbing. And you could also do some pantsing if you happen to wake up early on Wednesday morning, and you might, because the moon in Cancer conjoins Mars early in the morning, and it might even be a rude awakening with the moon applying to fallen Mars in Cancer. It could even suggest physical violence of some kind. Often, though, it's not these things. That's a possibility. It's not necessarily a thing. All depends on all the charts involved. And I know that's like saying, don't worry, the elevator is unlikely to run out of air. And it absolutely is. But if you're in a tiny box and it says, don't worry, you're not going to be trapped in this tiny box forever and die in it, then you're like, well, I wasn't thinking about that until you said something. But you are on an astrology channel, so it's my job to tell you when the quality of the time is potentially dangerous or like prone to injury. So remember when I said lay out your workout clothes on Tuesday? If you have a gentle, non-risky beginner workout you can do where you just like get your heart rate going, don't do anything difficult, don't make it over strenuous, but it's a nice use of the energy in the morning. And don't come to me if you get injured, because I told you to be careful. And everything you do taken from videos on my channel is at your own discretion. So don't wake up early in the morning and get on a rickety stool that's not designed for you to stand on to reach something on a high up shelf, because you might fall and injure yourself. Don't go walking down a dark alleyway in the middle of the night on Tuesday/Wednesday morning wearing a short skirt. Don't be Bruce Wayne's parents coming back from the opera. Just don't do anything intentionally dangerous, but find like a gentle, even keel outlet for the moon Mars energy if you don't sleep through it. When the moon makes an aspect with Mars or Uranus early in the morning, I usually find that I'm awake early. The moon in Cancer also makes a trine with Saturn early in the day. So this is another good reason to wake up early and work out. Get a sparkly feeling body. That's how my body feels when I work out consistently. Sparkly. It's literally aura points. Do it. I don't care if that's played out. Again, nothing too strenuous. I'm going to say it over and over again. Do not go ham on Wednesday. It's not the day to try to go hard and do heavy lifting and impress everybody. It's not the day to try new dangerous things. Moon in Cancer is trining Saturn in Pisces. You could meal prep for the rest of the week. Set yourself up for success. Do a little advanced planning. I'm saying this for myself. This will help you out for the rest of the week. Because remember, we're in between eclipses. So you want whatever you can do to take care of yourself so that you're not the one who flies off the rails. Like if you're hangry, you don't want to be hangry, especially on Wednesday or Tuesday. Something as basic as having nutritious food around so you can feel more grounded in your body. Because when you feel taken care of, you're less likely to extend your feeling of not being taken care of out to unsuspecting victims. Saying this for myself. And the second part of Wednesday, to be modern astrology about it, it has a little bit of a depth psychology feeling, penetrating the depths of the corrupt power structure. Maybe you get your hands on an interesting spreadsheet. Maybe you had a weird dream about the president or Jeffrey Bezos, and now you know something through pure gnosis. And you don't know why you know it, but you do, and you can't stop thinking about it. Go watch my intro to cryptocurrency video. I don't know what it's named now, but I have a playlist that's called Special Reports, and you'll find the one that looks mostly like tokenization, cryptocurrency, real world assets, or something like that. Watch it. And I know I talk a lot of trash about blockchain, but it's probably good to know some stuff about it. If I don't know how much longer this world is going to keep going, but at least while it's going, maybe you should know something about it. Or maybe you should just nurture your personal relationships, feed yourself, take care of your body, make the world beautiful. This is Mercury in Virgo trining Pluto at the very late degrees of Capricorn. So I'm like, go learn some things about blockchain. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Boring. I'd rather organize recipes in my Notion. But at the same time, remember like when the stock market first started, that could have been considered evil. Like it's definitely one of the games that the Buddha wouldn't play, but so does astrology. There's a stigma against debt, but if you read the book Debt, the first 5,000 years, you find out that debt comes even before money. Anyway, so the stock market could have been considered evil, but knowing about it certainly could create a lot of abundance and prosperity, even though right now is not the time to do that. This is the time to know some stuff to act on later, after we're not in between eclipses, unless you're supposed to act on it. Anyway, the second part of Wednesday, feel the undercurrents of power. How sometimes, during some eras, corruption is absolutely necessary. A lot of the people involved in the corrupt power structures from 2008 until now, some of them were probably entangled in a leadership system that they couldn't get out of and had to participate in corruption. They had no choice. So I don't know where compassion fits into Mercury in Virgo trining Pluto in Capricorn. Maybe Mercury's opposition with Neptune, highlighting how there's a bit of the opposite in every extreme. Empirical, calculating Mercury, and perhaps overly compassionate, maybe delusional Neptune and Pisces. Wake up on Thursday from whatever the heck that was and find the world more calculating and diplomatic. Libra, the scales are a tool of commerce. Mercury has entered Libra. Plus, the moon in Cancer checks in with Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto in that order, the order they're in the solar system. It's like a day, a time of emptiness, negative space, checking in with the gods, communicating with beings that it's like in Flatland, when the apparition from the third dimension comes and you don't know what that is. You had no precedent for what that was. The first half of Thursday is broad, and there's a shift in tone with Mercury entering Libra. It's fall, now with even more Libra. Moon moves into Leo the second half of Thursday, and it makes a sextile with Mercury in Libra in the evening, which makes me think of it's like show and tell with one other person. Second half of Thursday night, keeping it light, keeping it cute. However, Mercury in Libra is ruled by, right now, Venus in Scorpio. Venus has just entered Scorpio. And the moon also completes a square on Thursday night with Venus in Scorpio. Late Thursday night / early Friday morning, show and tell could turn into a truth or dare feeling situation. Friday is just the moon in Leo applying to a sextile with Jupiter in Gemini. And everything in this configuration still boils down to Venus in Scorpio, because Jupiter is ruled by Mercury in Libra, which is ruled by Venus in Scorpio. The moon in Leo, currently ruled by the sun in Libra, ruled by Venus in Scorpio. What's going on Friday is governed by what was going on Thursday. Still a little truth or dare, still a little down and dirty, ultimately. Feels light and energetic on the surface, but has the forces governing it are down and dirty. And loving it. The forces governing the light, energetic feeling of Friday are governed by something willingly handcuffed to a satin sheet covered bed. We're just zoomed out of that on Friday. So you could take a personal day and have a long weekend. Maybe that's fun for Friday. Or you could be productive and get your work done on Friday so that you're freed up on Saturday. Saturday's a little more volatile. Saturday, the moon in Leo is squaring Uranus and Taurus all day. So that could be disruptive. That could be upsetting. It could just be surprising in a way that's maybe exhausting. Saturday is a little out of the ordinary, or a lot, depending on your relationship with the moon. It's exciting, but it could be exhausting. And that's potentially because you're being seen. You're having to be extroverted, or there's some innovative treat, something. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's upsetting, but maybe it's good, but you can't do the Italian sweetness of doing nothing by yourself. You have to, I just like to be by myself, so I'm just talking about me. But maybe you love being extroverted, and then it's really fun, but also is a little bit draining. We're in between eclipses still. You'll wake up Sunday and the moon will be in Virgo. So the moon will be reviewing all this Mercury stuff, Mercury checking in with Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto earlier this week. So we're starting to take Mercury's findings and turn them into real action in the world. The moon is the activator of the zodiac, and the moon in Virgo sextiles Venus and Scorpio. So you'll feel again how Venus and Scorpio is controlling a lot of the narrative right now, except now it's potentially a little less uncomfortable than Thursday night. All day Sunday, Mars applies to a trine with Saturn. That's actually all week. So if you're watching this early in the week, now you know that this is also all week. Mars makes an exact trine with Saturn on Sunday night. And remember Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I said meal prep, lay out your workout clothes, prepare. Well, now if you've done that advanced preparation, you can build upon it even more. You're ready. Mars is trining Saturn. You're ready to work out first thing in the morning. You could take that advanced preparation even further. Set yourself up. Because if you didn't do that stuff earlier in the week, then maybe now you'll do it, but you could have gotten further. But that's okay. Also, we're in between eclipses. So if you don't get far at all, if you get nowhere, that's okay. But Sunday will be about taking your responsibilities seriously and acting on them. Just don't go ham. It's Mars and Cancer, so don't injure yourself. But here you could I think the feeling is shaping the person you want to be to prepare yourself for the future and protect yourself from danger, because there's always danger in the world. And remember, your Wi-Fi is a camera that can see through walls.